Alright, so before I begin showing you Doomfist bugs, I just want to show you how many hours I have on Doomfist and what skill level I play him at, just so you can get an understanding on how much I know about Doomfist and how many hours I put into him. So let's start with the first bug that is really annoying. Alright, so the first bug I'm going to be bringing up is Doomfist Slam doing no damage at all. This bug also applies to Reinhardt's Earth Shatter. Sometimes his ultimate doesn't work, like, it just does no damage whatsoever. And this was apparently going to be fixed in early April, and it's currently July and it still isn't fixed. Okay, this bug is really difficult to explain. So if you don't know, Doomfist Slam and Reinhardt's Earth Shatter has a linger to it. Like, the damage lingers. So what I mean by linger is when you slam on the ground, the damage stays there for less than a second. I don't know how long it is exactly, but it's less than a second. And if anyone blinks into it or walks into it during the animation or a certain time frame, they still get affected by the damage. It doesn't matter if you miss your slam. If somebody just walks into it at the right time, even though you already slammed on the ground, they get affected by it. So there's a bug where they don't get affected by it, and it's just not consistent. It's either they get affected by it or they don't. So in the first clip, you can see that the Tracer walks into my, well, she didn't walk into it, she actually jumps into my slam, after I slammed onto the ground, and she did not get affected by it. And in the second clip I'm showing you during an example, I made my friend blink into my slam. Even though I missed my slam, the damage still lingers, and that's part of Doomfist and Reinhardt's kit. Like, that's just how it works. But there's a bug where the damage doesn't linger, and it's not consistent the way his slam is working right now. Also, if you're saying in the first Tracer clip, my slam didn't affect the Tracer because I slammed onto the fence, trust me, I already tested this. You can slam on top of a fence and still do damage on a person. So with this clip, I don't really need to explain much, but breakable poles can fully cancel Doomfist Slam. So this is actually the first time this bug ever happened to me on Doomfist. I'm assuming it has to do with Zarya's Grav, but you can kind of see my slam just disappears into nothing. So this bug is actually really common on Doomfist, and it's very annoying to deal with. It's when you try to slam and it does like 6 or 9 damage and it cancels itself and your character kind of just like leaps forward. It makes no sense whatsoever. So this happens when you try to do a direct slam in a very awkward angle. Your character kind of just falls straight to the ground instead of going to the location that the indicator says you're going. Back then, this never really happened. With the Doomfist, you would usually just slam wherever the indicator says you were going to slam. And for some reason now, if you're in a very awkward angle, the slam just drops you straight to the ground. This was never announced into the patch notes that this was going to be happening with Doomfist now. It just randomly started happening, and we don't know if it's a bug or something the devs intentionally did with Doomfist. This is probably the second worst bug on Doomfist Slam. It's a very common bug. It happens almost at least once a game. Your slam indicator says you're going to be slamming at X location, but you don't slam there at all. The indicator, it pretty much lies. You're not going to be slamming where you want to slam. Also, I do have an idea the way this bug works. When you try to do a direct slam and there's an object below you, I believe it affects the way your slam works, and it makes you do the other type of slam where you kind of just like do a very big arc instead of slamming directly where you want to slam. If that's the case, then the indicator shouldn't be telling you that you're going to be slamming at this location, and that's something that needs to really be fixed, because you can literally kill yourself in the game by this bug happening to you. Alright, so in this clip, it's in black and white because I'm pulling this out of my Doomfist montage, but you can see I tried to slam towards the Reinhardt and the McCree, and my character hits the wall and falls to my death pretty much. So Doomfist has two types of slams. The first one would be the direct slam, where you could see the indicator and you slam towards that indicator, and the second one shows no indicator and you kind of slam in a arc. So if Doomfist attempts to do a direct slam, the one that shows you the indicator during an Orisa hold, Doomfist will slam onto the air, and that is a bug. But if Doomfist attempts to do a arcing slam, he will not slam onto the air, he would actually fall onto the ground, as it should. So for some reason on certain maps, Doomfist is allowed to use a seismic slam into his death, basically, as you're seeing in this first clip. And that's a big issue with Doomfist because it affects the way his slam works when you're trying to use it in certain situations. So if you ever were to use your ultimate on top of that building in Legion Tower and you were trying to slam onto the bridge to knock somebody off the map or to try to get a kill, because of the bug on the map where you can slam into your death in that location, it's not going to let you do that. You're going to be slamming directly into your death. And that's a big issue with Doomfist. This bug does not only apply for Legion Tower, there are other maps that let you slam into your death like that, but I just wanted to show you the example on Legion Tower. So there's a bug where you can slam on top of people's heads, and it makes no sense at all, and not only that, it doesn't do any damage towards them either. So when you use your slam towards an object at a certain angle, sometimes you get stuck like I'm showing you in the clip here. It's really annoying because it can get you killed when you're trying to escape with your slam or if you're trying to kill somebody with your slam. This is the only spot I know by heart, but I know there are other maps where you can get your slam stuck. So this bug doesn't only apply slamming near payloads, but applies on other objects. Sometimes your slam just completely cancels itself. In the clip here, you can see that the person slammed in front of the payload and it got stuck and it just canceled itself. I had a bug where I slammed towards the payload and my character got stuck in the payload and my slam damage climbed to 125 and then I got pushed off of the payload. So the indicator is not something you should be relying on because the indicator said I was going to be slamming near that Doomfist and that did not happen. My character hit the bridge above my head and made me slam onto the ground. And not only that, me and Doomfist did not stun each other in terms of falling onto the ground and waiting to get back up. My punch somehow outruled his punch and I end up killing him, and it makes no sense the way these interactions work with Doomfist versus Doomfist. So direct slams, which is what I personally call it, some people call it homing slams. There's just so many different names for it. It's the slam when you get to see the indicator. If you see the indicator and you're slamming at anybody or at anything, if Lucio boops you at the right time, your slam is gonna do no damage at all. So the fence didn't break when he was slamming towards the Hanzo. So when you punch somebody on Doomfist and they hit the wall, they take impact damage from hitting the wall. But there's a bug with certain heroes like Moira, Tracer, and Reaper where they can use their Fade, Wraith, and Recall to stop the damage on the impact on the wall. And it's still working as of July 5, 2018, even though they did say that it's fixed, but it's still not fixed. Alright, so with this bug, it's pretty much the enemy not taking the full damage either from his rocket punch or from the impact on the wall. I'm not sure what causes this. I know for a fact that the Mercy did not have any armor or shield generator from this. She didn't have any sort of extra health. She was at 200 health. There was no Lucio ultimate on her. There was nothing. She just took not the full damage. Like you can see my character had his punch fully charged, punched her directly into the wall. She took damage from the wall, but she didn't take the full damage. She should have died from that, but I don't know what happened. So this bug happens when you punch somebody in a strange shaped wall. Like when I punch Tracer, it's on a circular wall. She didn't slide off of it, she just didn't take any impact damage off of it. So this is Rocket Punch bug number 4 and Uppercut bug number 1. Rocket Punch bug number 4 is the Rocket Punch not registering at all, and the Uppercut bug is the Uppercut not doing any sort of damage. Now you might say, well, I missed my Rocket Punch, but in this second clip I'm showing you, you can kind of see the hitbox of Rocket Punch. You can see I was aiming for the Zenyatta with my punch, but I end up hitting the Mercy instead. And you can see how far the mercy is from my rocket punch. Now if you go back to the first clip where I was trying to punch McCree, my punch should have definitely hit the McCree based on this hitbox. So either Doomfist is getting ghost punches or there's something incorrect about his hitbox. If you rocket punch a Genji while he's dashing at you, the knockback of the punch is going to be extremely far on him. Alright, so this bug is when you and enemy Doomfist punch at each other and you guys don't get stunned. You guys kind of just get pushed back away. You're supposed to both be falling down onto the ground and getting stunned, but for some reason, sometimes this happens. So this bug happens when you punch an object in a certain angle and your rocket punch kind of goes vertically into the air. It is possible to use rocket punch to go vertically into the air by pressing space before you hit the object, and that makes you bounce into the air, but what's happening here was he was trying to punch the Roadhog, but because he hit the payload in a very awkward angle, his rocket punch kind of just pushes him vertically into the air instead of hitting the payload or going through the payload to punch the Roadhog. So this bug is kind of annoying when it happens because you're trying to punch somebody and your punch decides to go vertically into the air and you completely miss your punch. So when you rocket punch somebody, they're supposed to take impact damage from hitting the wall, but there is a bug where sometimes they don't take the impact damage. Jeff Goodman, I think that's how you say his name, he did confirm that if you do hit an enemy that's above a 45-degree angle, they're not gonna take the impact damage, they're gonna slide off of the wall. That's completely understandable, but there is bugs when you kind of do a point blank into a wall, they take no impact damage. I'm going to show you a couple clips where people hit a wall in a very weird angle and they still took impact damage. It's just not consistent the way the impact damage is working right now. So specifically on Doomfist Rocket Punch, if you punch Sombra while she's hacking you or somebody else and you cancel her hack, it's not going to go on cooldown. If you use any other Doomfist ability to cancel her hack, they are going to go on cooldown, including his ultimate, his uppercut, his slam, and even his primary fires will put Sombra's hack on cooldown, but not his rocket punch for some reason. So I don't really need to explain this bug too much, but it's just when uppercut doesn't do any damage, it doesn't register. Sometimes it shows the blood effect when you're uppercutting, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're point blank in front of the person and it still doesn't even hit them. I know somebody's going to be saying my uppercut wasn't in the range, but I'm going to be showing you a clip where my uppercut was in range and it registered, and you could see the distance for uppercut hitbox. It's pretty far. You don't have to be point blank in front of somebody to even land the uppercut. So there's a bug with uppercut where the enemy either goes 2 times the height than they should, or they go half the height that they should. It's just not consistent. So Doomfist Ultimate is really strange the way it works. You can see on my screen where you can see like a mouse that says right click to zoom out. So the point of that is to hold right click to climb objects, but you can see I'm not holding right click and I'm climbing objects. The scaling on it is very weird, and I'm climbing objects that I shouldn't even be able to climb in the first place. Imagine if I was trying to slam somebody that's near the walls that I'm going towards and my character decides to slam all the way up into the air on a wall that nobody's on. The fact that he can climb these objects like that is not consistent. Like, it makes no sense at all the way it works. Before they somewhat nerfed his ultimate, you weren't able to climb stuff like this. Like, it just makes no sense the way it works. The way you see how I'm hitting the object back and forth, 'cause that's what should happen. But for some reason, you can climb over things. You can see when I'm holding right click, you're supposed to be able to climb over things, but you can also use your ultimate on roofs like these, which make no sense at all. So this is a new glitch I found with Doomfist. I'm pretty sure this existed on Doomfist since day one, but so right here, you see how I could just go on top of this normally? If I crouch, I can't uncrouch, okay? Now, you can see I'm in my crouch form because of the way I walk, and because I am stuck, like I can't uncrouch right now, if I use my ultimate is very slow right now. You can see how slow my ultimate is. that's because I'm still stuck in that crouch movement when I'm up here. Like, see, I can come up here, walk normally, I could even spam jump, but when I crouch, I'm stuck in that crouch form. This doesn't only apply to this spot, there's a lot of other spots, which I'll show you in a second. So this glitch applies to anywhere where you can't uncrouch. So like, if I come over here, if I crouch inside of it, I can't uncrouch because I crouched inside of it, but when I use my ultimate is super slow. And not only that, I shouldn't be able to scale this train right here. I shouldn't be able to do that normally anyways. If I want to scale it, I would have to hold right click, but yeah, that's another issue with his ultimate. You could just scale things you're not supposed to in your without right clicking it. So there's this bug with Doomfist ultimate where if you're trying to use his ultimate at a certain location, for some reason he slams somewhere way above where you're actually wanting to slam.
Meteor strike! Meteor strike!
Alright, I'm gonna break the wall. Don't use it yet. Alright, put him.
So you could see that I did slam towards the Widowmaker and the Winston, and I did not get any shields from it, even though I did do damage to both of them and knocked both of them up into the air. I should have got the 70 shields from them, but I did not, and I instantly died because of that bug happening to me. So you can see here, my friend got punched by the enemy Doomfist, and his character did a 180 for some random reason. So sometimes when you use your slam, your camera just kind of flicks to a very random direction, and it can throw your aim off. Not sure what causes this bug, but it's really annoying.
Oh yeah, you go so right through it. That's cool.
Thank you.
I'm depressed.
How did I know you were gonna throw that? We really need to kill the Reaper.
Keep her once in a while.
He does, he has it, but he's not using it. Eating. Fuckers.
He's dead.
They can't get mech again. Do not let her get mech again. Friggin' grab drag his auto win.
What? Point! No! On the run, on the run.
Winston can die, Winston can die.
I have bomb here.
Break on point, break on.
One up, we're ready to go.
Doomfist might need to ult to initiate, maybe?
Special attack.